welcome on back, everyone. I hope you all had a nice stretch. Coming up, we've got another retro classic you may not have ever heard of, but friends, you remember that classic era of PlayStation JRPGs, and I'm not talking Final Fantasy VII. I'm talking something like La Pucelle, or the name is escaping me at the moment, but stuff like Solata Robo, like all those funny little JRPGs that weren't the big names, but had their own little charm. Well, Brave Fencer Musashi is one of those published by the great Square themselves. And just like any classic RPG, it is a game where you supposedly save the princess and then save the world, but not in Aalaizah's run of it today. No, today we're doing Orchestra %. What does that mean? Well, you may be able to guess, but Aalaizah, how about you show us how it is to save the music, save the world?
Hey y'all, I'm Aalaizah. I'm here to run Brave Fencer Musashi Orchestra %, which we'll get into a little bit once we kind of get started. But I'm here with PowerForge.
Howdy.
And we're gonna get started. This game is great. It's silly. I hate it and I love it. So I'm gonna start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's do it!
So we skip the opening cutscene because we can. Thank you, Square.
Oh, yes. One of the few cutscenes we actually get to skip. So let's kind of crack down what this game actually is for a second. The best way to describe this is a game where Kirby has been isekai'd into a Legend of Zelda world and is cosplaying as Sonic. And if you don't understand what I mean, just give it a quick second. Aalaizah here is going to charge up her sword real fast, throw it into this enemy, and then absorb his ability. So the sword is Zelda, and she's Kirby.
I just need to say, you told me I was going to love the intro, but I was not prepared for how much I would.
So that allowed me to absorb gunshot from the enemies. So now I can shoot guns, because I'm also Mega Man or something.
Yes.
Samus? I don't know.
She can now shoot guns out of her fingers. Like, she literally has finger guns.
You're right, it is. It's finger guns.
So, basic plot is basically there are two empires, or kingdoms, really. It is the Thirst Quencher Empire has invaded the All-You-Can-Eat Kingdom. And as part of the invasion, Princess Filet, if you guys are now realizing yet,
Oh, come on. Y'all, I can count to 4, I swear. So each of these statues takes 4 hits to disappear, and we try to get them early so that you don't have to watch the animation and wait to step on the little pad to open up the next bit of the tower, because we're climbing a tower.
my cat turned off my mic.
Oh no.
But yes, so bit of speed tech here for you guys. Musashi runs uphill slower than he jumps. So what Aalaizah's going to do here is trying to jump as much as she can over these things and navigate, outwards and inwards to not get hit. Another little trick that she can try to do is when she lands, the game doesn't apply physics for the first frame after you land. So that slowness going up and hill doesn't get applied until the second frame. So if she can jump perfectly on that first frame, she doesn't lose speed.
So
that is actually a mechanic we're going to abuse.
Yeah.
While we're referencing other games, as someone who only recently played Klonoa, I just love the Klonoa vibes I'm getting on this stage.
Ooh, that's fair.
That's actually something I have not currently ever thought of, but yeah.
I need to play more of Klonoa.
But to kind of explain the plot a little bit more, so Musashi got isekai'd back from the past, what Musashi's goal is he has to grab the sword Lumina, which is at the top of this tower, and gather the 5 scrolls in order to basically, I don't remember what the plot line is, but it's like,
It's to save
find
the world.
find the 5 scrolls, become the ultimate warrior, save the world, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It's a JRPG.
We're not. It's a JRPG, but we're not doing that. We're doing Orchestra Percent. What Orchestra Percent is it's kind of Aalaizah and I's brainchild of how to try to get this into more marathons. And so, Orchestra Percent, we rescue 3 musicians in the game, and instead of beating the game, we try to show you guys an Easter egg. That Easter egg is, as you talk to the musicians after you rescue them, their instrument gets added to the castle background music. And so, Orchestra Percent is essentially the curtain call of the full orchestra playing the castle background music.
It's the worst Lumina grab I've had in forever.
That guy did not want to cooperate with you.
Nope. So now we have an auto-scroller where the game really proves to us that collision is a suggestion. But only when it wants to be a suggestion, not when you want it to be.
Or the collisions only matter after you've gotten past something, which we'll possibly do by zipping up Steam Knight's pants.
Yup, sob.
This is actually a kind of silly auto-scroller. At this point, Aalaizah could just go right, which she has done, and leave her controller untouched for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, you can basically stay to the right until it forces you not to the right.
And then you have to control slightly, and then you just keep running, and as rocks appear, you run through them.
Oh, that was a bad jump.
Oh.
That was a...
How long has it been since you failed that jump?
A pretty long time. It's okay, it just starts us back at the beginning of the auto-scroller, so...
I just want to give shout-outs to, like, the whole concept of this particular auto-scroller. Like, oh, I've missed these. This is very much a late 90s thing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I mean, yeah, we're talking about, visiting all these game genres. Well, here's our Indiana Jones section.
One of them, because we get a couple.
We do get a couple. Oh. I don't think you're ready for how many references we're going to make in this game.
Please.
Aalaizah and I have come up with a list.
There we go. So yeah,
I'm so excited
as you
for
can see,
you
I
to
can
blow
run
my
through
mind.
rocks.
All right, so
That's what you meant by collision. Is just an idea. Okay, sorry.
No, speedrunning fashion, walls are suggestions, and Musashi is the best speedrunner. He does not care about this wall. Please look in the background as this screen loads. At the Musashi-sized hole.
I just skipped my favorite line, and I meant to let it play. So this bad guy's name is Rutrick, and he is kind of a hick stereotype. So when he introduces himself, he's like, "I'm Rutrick, and you're..." And it's one of my favorite lines in the game.
Very polite. Ask for your name.
Yeah, right? So this is Steam Knight. This is the first boss, and kind of shows the process that all of the other bosses will go through. We have a phase where I fail to do what I was supposed to do. It's okay.
Essentially, we have a phase where you're doing some sort of damage to expose a core. You're going to hit the core, and then the boss is going to reset into a new phase, and you're going to repeat that essentially 3 times. There's only...
Oh my gosh.
Really, it's
This
only
phase
chapter
is the
6 where
worst.
bosses don't follow that.
Yeah. Please? Oh my god. There we go.
Okay, good, you got it.
Steam Knight is being steamy and rude.
Yeah. So if anybody actually wants to run this game, here's a neat little trick though, right? In this next hit, Aalaizah needs to do 61 damage.
Or get
Okay,
stomped
she can
on.
do it on this next hit as well. By doing 61 damage here, we actually skip a lot of his attacks. So he's going to do this, he's going to break the house, he'll walk again, and then he'll do a stutter step. That stutter step is actually him skipping his next attack because he's taken too much damage.
Oh, I was trying to show you can also attack the head, which does nothing but looks cool, but I'm having trouble getting up there because he doesn't want me to show off.
Yeah, it's also rough because it's a time loss technically.
Jesus.
If you jump on top of him, he has a chance to spin.
Yeah.
And it's just time loss.
What?
Oh,
look at that sliver of health. What is that?
He actually has 1 HP left. I looked at your damage. He has 1 HP.
Oh, that was shenanigans. Steve Knight sometimes does what he wants. And then he pretends that he's
We're
still
just
alive.
holding a steel ball bigger than us over our head. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, this is the... Okay, this is actually good to know. He looks like a child because the princess is really bad at summoning magic. So when she summoned him as a midget. I see Mina talking about the magic pixel. No, we actually have something in the game that we call the magic pixel. We won't see it in this run, but there is a magic pixel in the game.
I don't know. I'd say there's a few magic pixels in this game.
I was just about to say, you could probably say Church Escape is a series of magic pixels, but the one I'm thinking of is the one in Hell's Valley.
Oh, fair. No, I don't want to read. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Scribe Shanky. I did not mean to get your hopes up.
Also, while we're getting to the next part of the game here, if you guys are having nostalgia about Musashi's voice and you can't understand where it's coming from, Musashi is the voice of Izzy from Digimon.
You just unlocked memories.
Also, do we see John? We do see John at some point.
Yeah, we see John.
Yeah, we see John after you leave Twin Peak. We should probably let him do a voice line because John is what's his name? Steve Blue.
Yeah, we can let a voice line of that play.
Alright, so to explain what Aalaizah's about to do here, basically at this point we're supposed to try to gather information in town, which leads us to a series of quests where we rescue a dog, we take the dog on the walk, we break some guy out of jail. We're going to do none of that. Instead, we're going to abuse that first frame mechanic I was telling you about and time travel to the future again.
And we're just gonna safety save because this trick sometimes kicks my butt.
So the way we're going to abuse it this time is we have an enemy called the Hopper. When we absorb its ability, we gain the ability Hop. Hop actually gives us more height than our normal jump. So what Aalaizah's going to do is she's going to cancel the Hop ability on the first frame, so the game still thinks that we have that increased height, and that lets us reach a location that we can't normally reach.
So right there, I was also kind of listening to the sound effects for the absorb, because you have 8 bloops to fully absorb it, and the further you are out of that zone, the more time you have to do the trick when you get to the mountain, because Hop is a time-based, so it only lasts for a certain amount of time, whereas other abilities are like on use, like Gunshot was.
Specifically, Hop lasts 30 in-game seconds. We specify in-game because an in-game time is about... what's the best way to describe it? Actually, quiet first.
There we go.
Okay, that looked good. 1 hour in-game is about 45 seconds real time. And so, Aalaizah basically has about 3 to 4 bounces to store the ability there. And then she got it first try, so that's really good. But she only had 3 or 4 bounces to store the ability. So that's why we wanted quiet time for her to really be able to listen.
So now we've gotten the first piece of the unappraised first piece of legendary armor. So in this game, you get a version of an armor piece, and then you have to take it to the pawn shop for the pawn shop to appraise it. So we're going to sleep so that the pawn shop opens up for us.
That actually goes back into the plot where this armor is our armor. We, as Musashi, were summoned to the future because we are a legendary hero. Our armor, as we aged, was sealed away, put whatever, and by summoning us to the future, we can regain our armor and regain its magical abilities.
So this is Pawn Shop's Connor.
He's
Yay.
a very, very rude man, and we love him, except on Mondays, because he's a lazy sack of something that doesn't open his store.
You know, I don't blame him. He works by himself. I would need a day off too. So that's something else.
I do blame him because we know what the village looks like. Like, what does he do for work? Who goes out and finds stuff to sell?
You know what? That's fair.
All right, and so now we're going into the next part of the story where this is actually kind of important. This is the point in the game where if you play this casually and you never beat this game, 50% of you guys probably quit here because this game feels impossible as a child because it kind of is impossible as a child.
It's impossible as an adult.
So what's about to happen is Aalaizah, and I'm trying to explain this now because we want some quiet time so Aalaizah can focus on clearing this minigame. There is a tree called Steamwood that powers the entire town. It is basically the equivalent of their steampunk nuclear reactor is the best way to describe it. And it's going chaotic. So Aalaizah has to get into this tree and open 8 valves to relieve the pressure or it's going to blow up. It's a very simple minigame. You have 2 bars. One is filling up slowly, and when it hits the OK zone, you have to hit a button. Oh, Aalaizah's off to grab one of the musicians that we have to rescue. This is one of 6 people we actually have to rescue.
Okay. I thought I swung the sword, and Musashi was just like, no.
Anyways, you have 1 bar that slowly fills, and when it hits the good zone, you hit X, and it fills the other bar slightly. When the second bar fills up completely, you've released the valve, and you can move on to the next one. She has to do this through 8 valves, where the bar on the left will start filling up faster and faster, and the part that's impossible is the last 2 valves. The 7th valve only has 3 frames that you can actually hit X on and succeed. The 8th valve has 2, and this game runs at 30 FPS, so that is 1/10 of a second and 1/15 of a second time frame you can press X.
I forgot to shop. Can you remind me after Twin Peak?
Shop at the Twin Peak, gotcha.
It's like, I have way too much money. What is happening?
Yeah, you do have a chance. You should be able to shop before, whatchamacallit?
Yeah, before I sleep after Church Escape.
You should be able to shop before Church Escape.
Depending on when I get there. Sometimes I get there at like 2 in the morning.
Yeah, you're right.
So this is the door to get in, and we're reading the manual to learn how Steamwood works. And so there's the timer in the top right. That is in-game time. We have 24 hours until Steamwood explodes, and we have to restart. And then we'll have on each of the valves an amount of real time to get to the next valve before all of the valves reset.
Yes. So you'll see on the top right here, and I'm going to keep quiet. Actually, number 1's pretty slow. I'm going to basically be quiet whenever I see the valves pop up. But You see on the right is the in-game timer, and on the top left there is a real game timer. So, one of those trying to keep track of why are the seconds ticking down differently. That's because one's in-game, one's real-time. So on the first floor, she'll have 60 seconds every valve to finish the next one. On the next one, that drops to 35 seconds, and she will get 60 seconds when she has to go from the second floor to the third floor.
Don't you fall off, thank you.
I was about to say, you might get squished standing there.
Collision is a suggestion. Sometimes the elevator lets you through it, and sometimes it doesn't.
So, we're not going to visit this a second time, but casually you have to do this twice. And if you didn't quit the game when the first one drove you insane, I'm betting you quit the game when the second one drove you insane, because the second one, the valves are missing.
I mean, it's only like 3 of the valves, right? I don't know, I've only done it like once in the past 6 years, so...
Yeah, it's only 3 of the valves.
I've just been like sitting here open mouth and like trying to respect quiet time because I hate games that require focus like this, but...
Yeah, no, it's terrible.
So I'm someone who likes to just sort of explore every nook and cranny before like continuing plot in RPGs. This section seems like it would really punish you for doing that.
It definitely can, yeah.
It
so you're gonna see the in-game timer
but
go
had
fast.
Access to most of this section already. So
what just happened to Musashi there?
Oh yes, Musashi's a narcoleptic. He can fall asleep anywhere.
So sleeping makes time pass faster, which will change what time I come out of the next area, which is helpful in making sure I can buy items, since I forgot to buy items. Okay. Valve 7, please. There we go.
That's that 3 frames of success I was talking about.
Okay.
You should be good, because, yeah, you're right. You should be able to buy it right after Church Escape.
Yep.
But after this, I should explain the time mechanic.
Yeah. There we go. Okay.
Okay. So during this cutscene, we have 3 really cool mechanics in this game that, honestly, like, it's one of the reasons I love this game. It shows how far advanced this game was when it was being made. So, 3 mechanics. We have an actual time of day and week. And so, the stores are open between certain times. Certain events happen during certain times. Stores are closed certain days of the weeks. It's really cool, but that feeds into the next mechanic as well, which is Musashi's tiredness. Musashi has to sleep in this game. There is actually a bar that if you look when Aalaizah pauses, it's not a bar, it's just really just words, but it will say tiredness and then X% to show how tired Musashi is. If Musashi reaches over a certain percentage in tiredness, he moves slower. We can't run as fast. So a lot of this game is us balancing that tired percent so that we can continue moving as fast as we need to be. There's actually a possible soft lock coming up that if Aalaizah cannot do the trick in time, Musashi becomes too tired for us to do the trick. And then the third mechanic is BP, which is the I want to say blue bar, but I'm sorry, I'm colorblind, so I don't actually know what color it is.
It's a green bar. Yeah. The green bar on the bottom.
Yeah. That represents his Bincho power. Bincho is actually how Musashi is in this world. So if his Bincho power goes away, he actually starts getting hurt and he can no longer stay in this world, aka he'll die.
Oh my god, could I please shrink this enemy?
You were referencing going like Back to the Future and you know, we clearly jumped back to the past for a bit. I was wondering how that worked.
We are entirely in the future right now. So how that works is because of how we run this game, there are chapters in this game. So Aalaizah right now we started at the beginning. The prologue is really chapter 1. When she got to town was chapter 2, and then by doing that, we call it L hop. By doing that hop, she jumped from essentially the start of chapter 2 to about 2/3 through chapter 2. As soon as she's done with this section, we're going to do another trick where she's going to jump to, I'd say it's about 3/4 through chapter 2 at this point, to halfway through chapter 3. Because the way the game works is when certain events happen, it assumes that we're in a certain part of the game, so it sets all the flags as though we are in that part of the game.
I'm just going to show for a moment how like not attuned to speedrunning or video games I am. That's the same way that Ocarina of Time works, right?
To some degree it is, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, I'm also gonna be slow through this text because this is one of my favorite pieces of music.
Yeah, Roof Trick's theme is good.
And then we get this awesome race music afterwards. And since this is Orchestra %, I feel like I have to show off some of my favorite audio bits.
I absolutely agree. I would show up. If I could, I'd show off all of mine, but a lot of mine we skipped.
We skipped Sculpion, which is a shame, but... so this is also actually good RNG. So there's 2 different cutscenes you can get after this race. And the one when Rutrick actually makes it to the top is faster by like 3 frames or something like that.
It's more like 3 seconds.
Is it really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. In the other cutscene, instead of just slashing Rutrick, you actually walk off screen and you push a rock over the edge that hits Rutrick. But that pushing the rock is slower than running.
Flashing
so
light
it's actually
also.
Oh yeah, good call.
This is the first of a few flashing lights warnings whenever we're getting a new scroll, which gives us a new, more permanent ability. The game is a 90s game.
This is also where... Yeah. This is also where we learn more lore in that every time we get a scroll, we're supposed to kill what's known as a Crest Guardian. That's essentially locking the power of Lumina. And at this point in the game, the lore is by unlocking more power in Lumina, we become stronger. Which is technically true.
Also, that is the one and only time that Lumina talks to us. But for some reason, Lumina talks to us, and it's kind of creepy.
It looked like there was an eye in the hilt of the sword. I did want to say
Yes.
I made that like comparison to Ocarina of Time, and I found I did a quick look up. This game released before Ocarina of Time, so truly you weren't kidding when you said this game was ahead of its time.
Absolutely. It's... For a while, we were actually describing it as like this is the Ocarina of Time equivalent for PlayStation. And then we learned that it actually came out first, so now we call Ocarina of Time the Brave Fencer Musashi of Nintendo.
And so, one of the things we haven't talked about is... Okay, let's not get shrunk. That was rude. I just got body blocked. So everything... There's lots of different experience levels. So one of them is Lumina. Our sword gains level by using Lumina. So I'm doing some extra hits just so that I can get some extra level there. And this is John.
Right.
Hey!
And the best is boy Leno.
Well, I had things
You know,
to do,
John Leno.
So yeah, that's John. He's the one we were supposed to save from the stocks, but we didn't because we could just jump to where we needed to go.
I'm glad he
got
out by
out fine
himself, though.
somehow.
Yeah, he got out fine somehow, so...
It was Leno.
I mean-
It was all Leno.
It was all Leno, definitely.
Okay, so now we're going to explain that little time skip I mentioned earlier a little bit more. So in chapter 3, what happens in the story is that the village is overrun by these undead creatures. Now I'm specifying undead because they are half zombie half vampire, and they have been dubbed Vambies. After you rescue, or you don't even have to rescue him, you can leave him to die, honestly. One of the children in this village. It then comes out to be that you have to get into the church. So what we're doing here is we're going to glitch onto the rooftop of the church. Because of the zombie invasion, the church is actually locked. And the only way we can get into it is by using double jump. So we're going to mimic that now to reach the top of the church so that we can enter through the steeple, which is what we normally do in Chapter 3. That's how we were going to trick the game into thinking that we're now in Chapter 3.
Okay. Nope. There it is. So I was pausing on a specific frame of the jump like I did in that first... the first trick. But we can use the scrolls to do the same thing as the canceling that I did. Oh, I just missed it. Okay, so there...
this is
yeah.
Another magic pixel that's in the game is, because of how the church is constructed, there is a single pixel on that corner we can trick the game into thinking that we're standing on. By swapping scrolls, we basically trick the game into redrawing Musashi's model. And by redrawing the model, it resets everything. So when we're standing on that pixel and the model gets reset, the game's like, oh, Musashi's not falling. He's standing on this very obviously solid ground that doesn't exist.
Oh my god. Musashi, please. There we go.
I love that Musashi's swords can do everything. Like earlier, he was climbing the the cliff wall by stabbing them in, and now he's hopping on like a pogo stick.
I like to describe Musashi as like the strong man who doesn't understand that physics doesn't say that he can't do something. You know, you're not supposed to be able to make it through the wall. Well, watch me. You can't climb walls with swords. Well, watch me.
And the swords are still fine through all that, yeah.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. We're good. Alright, and so this fight normally happens at 2 a.m. and it's a timed fight that lasts until 7 a.m. If you guys look at the time before it disappears, it's currently 10:30 a.m. So basically this fight happens instantaneously as these super zombies realize they don't like the sun. Personally, I blame Bubbles, the blonde girl that just left, for not realizing she shouldn't summon zombies at 10 a.m.
Righty? What time does the item store close again?
The item store?
Yeah, the gel.
Why?
Is that the grocer?
2000 hours?
Okay, cool. I have a while to church escape then.
Oh, yeah.
So this is my least favorite trick in this run. Because you have to hold a button for 2 frames. 1 frame is not enough and 3 frames is too many.
You say this is my least favorite trick is an understatement. This trick is the reason why I run perfect ending, which is our 100% category, and not any percent.
Nope, that's not it.
So that was slightly too far to the left, so that was a 3-frame input. On 1 frame, Musashi doesn't turn around. So we're doing the same kind of thing as we did last time to get on top of the church. Is the opposite side of the church also has a magic pixel. That was 1 frame, that's 1 frame. That's 3 frames. So we have to line up and glitch a jump on top of the fence to get high enough, and then do that 2-frame input Aalaizah was just talking about to reach the pixel.
Come on. Nope,
That was a
frame.
lot of 1-frame inputs.
That's okay. It would help if I scroll swap there.
And this is the soft lock that I was talking about. So if Musashi's tiredness reaches 70%, Musashi can run but can't sprint, and we need Musashi to be able to sprint to reach the height on the fence.
Oh, that was it, and I paused a second too late.
Brain start. So every hour that passes, Aalaizah's going to lose 4 BP. She can take a nap because Musashi's a narcoleptic and will fall asleep anywhere. She can take a nap to help reduce the tiredness, but when she naps, she will only lose 1 BP per hour. But if she gets down below 20 BP, Musashi's in. Oh, nice. Musashi hits a point where he doesn't have enough bensho power, essentially, to hold himself into the future. So he becomes very sluggish, and then we soft lock because we can no longer do the trick to escape.
So this is the one you were referencing.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're gonna grab a couple of extra gels.
2 possible soft locks that we take in this run. The second one, we actually try to mitigate half of it. The first half of it is relatively safe as long as we don't really screw it up. And then there's a second half that we decide to throw away because we don't want to soft lock in the marathon. And I'll explain that when we get to it.
Yep.
And so this next part of the story, we now need to discover where the Vambies are coming from. Well, unfortunately, we don't get to talk to everyone's favorite waifu, but there is a waifu who works at the restaurant that tells us that the manager's acting funny. And so that leads us to investigate the restaurant, where we find everyone's favorite chain restaurant has this mausoleum beneath it.
Wait, your local restaurant doesn't have this? I'm pretty sure mine does. My favorite diner definitely has to have a basement.
I know the Applebee's does.
Not the national chain.
The Applebee's, yeah, you know what? That's true. Applebee's definitely.
So that's why their ribs taste so good.
So this dungeon has like 4 rooms.
This is actually the hardest part to run for a lot of people, is trying to make it through these 4 rooms.
Yeah, because you can do it without saving, right? But
yeah,
because if you go back to save, then you'll have to wait for the right time for the dungeon to open again too. So
we've colloquially named these 4 rooms Dark Room, Maze Room, Fire Room, and Bowling Room. Any guess which one we're in right now?
I'm sorry, did you say one of them was nicknamed Men's Room?
Maze Room.
Okay.
But also
okay. Well, I'm guessing that last one was Maze Room and this is Fire Room.
No, this is Bowling Room.
So this is all.
Room is Bowling Room.
I'm renaming the Ghost Maze Men's Room on my splits. Thank you, Zoku.
Yes, thank you. I think I need that. Well, it's also great because it's like there's a dark room and there's a maze room, and everyone thinks maze room is dark room because it's so dark in there. Oh no, this is bowling room, and as you see, there's a bowling minigame, which we all hate. On the
See, it looks fantastic from a spectator perspective, but I would absolutely hate playing this, you're right.
Well, so that's the thing, is we hate it because it's pure RNG.
Oh.
There is no way truly for us to manipulate it to be fast. We have found a setup that gives us like a 65% strike rate. But even then, like, we kind of just hope and pray that 65% is good enough. On the off chance that Aalaizah does get a strike, she's going to get a massive experience boost on all 4 of her stats. Her stats being Body, Mind, Fusion, and Lumina. Fusion and Lumina are our swords. Body is what you guys would call like normal experience. It grows based on how many enemies Aalaizah has defeated. And then Mind has nothing to do with Mind whatsoever. Mine is basically our defense, and it grows based on how far Aalaizah has traveled.
So this is the second Indiana Jones room.
This is the Pizza Hut demo disc dungeon.
We just slept through the first half of the second Indiana room because why not?
because physics, like,
Yeah.
oh, we're going to get squished, somehow end up on top.
Ugh, the stupid left pin.
And that's the 65% I was talking about. Is
Yep.
We found it out, but it's still just so rare. I personally believe it's based on the position of the first pin. But it's really hard for us to consistently get that left back pin. I think if you guys are bowling people, I think that's pin 10.
So
I
that's
like that you
bowling
don't
room.
have to deal with like any of those friends in there. Just no, don't mind me. I'm just here to take the thing you're clearly guarding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
so
Zambians are
that was
special.
actually-
They're slow. You know,
They're
they're our
slow,
friends.
they're fun. But I mean, Aalaizah's gonna give one a hug in a little bit.
Oh,
I will. I will give one a hug in a
Alright.
little bit.
So those two benchos that Aalaizah just got are the two people that are actually necessary for any person. And this is fun because if anyone out there likes like breaking games, that's
Please
like
make us not save them.
Yeah, that's like the active bounty of our community. Is those? There are 3 benchos that Aalaizah's gotten out of the mercenaries. They are necessary because we have to talk to them to activate the next chapter. If y'all can find a way where we don't have to talk to them, we will, like, the whole community will celebrate you.
So this is the fire room, or as I like to call it, platforming. It's got good music. Honestly, most of the restaurant has good music. Most of this game has good music.
Most of this game has good music.
I completely
real-
forgotten that we were in a restaurant until you said that.
Yeah, we're in the Applebee's basement.
You're right though. This is some nice music to platform maze. Well, I don't think this is the maze room, but it is some
No,
nice
this-
music to platform too.
Yeah, this is platforming fire.
Fire room / platforming.
I'm sorry, not maze room, men's room.
Men's room is next. Oh good, that one didn't hug me. For some reason lately I keep getting hit by the fire Vambi. Which is silly, because he just stands there.
Right,
Oh, I didn't do the
Okay, no.
nip. That's okay.
I was going to say, you can't walk out and reset it, so just go. I've tried.
Yup.
So what we're talking about is, so these bats are programmed to attack you at certain points to mess up your jump. So when we enter the room, there's a series of attacks that we do that show us exactly. By the way, this is how Applebee cuts their ribs. It's a series of attacks that is timed out perfectly to throw the bats off so that we can run across the room safely.
Oh, I completely missed that jump.
I can't do this jump without jump storage, so like, props to you.
Lots of practice, because I don't do perfect endings, so I can't use the maze in the platforming
This is
room.
true. So, for those who are wondering, perfect ending is our 100% category. As part of perfect ending, we have to save everyone, as well as open every chest. So, Aalaizah can do that little skip there because she doesn't care about anything, whereas when I do a run, there's a bencho field on the left side, as well as a chest to the upper right that I have to go get. So I can't do that jump. So I don't have practice on it.
When I was first learning this game, I lost a lot of runs to that jump. Which is why I
when we were
actually
first
used to
learning
use the memory box in here. So there's
When we were first running this game, how many runs did we lose to restaurant overall? This is the hardest section of the speedrun.
This is this in chapter 6, which we won't see today because we're just saving the orchestra, but this is the men's room.
You know what? As assigned male as birth, seems accurate.
Doing some more jump storage to avoid puzzles because puzzles take too long.
Yeah, so we jumped shores there, and then we're going to do a second jump here. That's more dangerous because everyone wants to give us a hug.
But only one of them is
come
lucky
on.
enough to get a hug later.
Lucky.
Oh,
It's more of a wrong place, wrong time kind of thing.
Yeah.
Wrong place, right time.
We're gonna go reset this room so that the enemies will leave me
good
alone
job.
a little bit longer.
Oh, good job jumping over that toxic Kirby. I probably would have been poisoned here. Toxic Kirby are these little blobs that fall from the ceiling. If you get hit by them, you end up poisoned.
There we
And
go.
poison automatically puts you at the slowest walking speed possible.
ooh.
So now we're gonna sleep a little bit more because we're in a basement. Why not, right? We're learning all the ins and outs of the Applebee's.
You know, we ate their ribs, we had their margaritas, now it's nap time. Food coma.
The food coma, yeah.
So is the sleep just an automatic, like, idle, like, animation kind of thing? Or is it like a button that you
No.
can trigger?
It's a button.
It's a
you
button
trigger.
you can trigger. Most people probably never knew this because there was only one page in the instruction booklet that told you how to do it. But if you press the select button, you actually change from whatever role Musashi has to the sleep ability. And then you just charge your attack and he falls asleep.
Which gains you HP and speeds up time. So
The HP gain is actually the same. You gain 4
Oh, is it really?
HP every hour naturally, and then you lose 4 BP in exchange for that. But as you sleep, it becomes 4 HP minus 1 BP. And the only other way to change that is a legendary item that we won't see in this run, which is the quilt.
I mean,
I
it
will
also
say
speeds
that-
up time though. So
Now that I know it's intentional, it comes off as a massive flex.
Oh, you should.
yeah.
If you think that's a flex, like the 80% run, we flex super hard, but then
We
what's
sleep on top
Philippine-
of a boss.
We sleep on top of a boss. We sleep literally. We will get to see this. Aalaizah is going to basically backslap a boss and then take a nap.
Ooh.
But if you really think that's a flex, you should see Philippine's world record run. I don't understand how they have optimized the run to the point where they will take like insta naps in places and like immediately wake up just for that time to pass. And there's no fear in this man. He sleeps everywhere. I have 3 seconds, nap.
So I'm also noticing there's a day counter, like this is day 4. Is there a time limit that you have to, quote unquote, save the world by?
No,
there's
so you
not?
can actually. Well, actually, there is. There is a scene that happens on day. Was it 985?
I'm sorry, you've played that many days.
Look, okay, in college,
Okay, all right.
I
I'll give
played
you
this
that.
game, and like, I took a nap once, and then something happened. I don't remember. I think my girlfriend at the time like needed me to help her with something, so I walked away, and we saw she just laid there taking a nap.
Yeah, yeah. So also, once you get low enough on BP, Musashi will try to nap to heal, and it doesn't work. So you just slowly die, and you just nap till you're at 1 HP and just can't do anything.
No,
my gosh.
I had the quilt, and the quilt actually
okay.
reverses it. So what the quilt does is it changes that plus 4 HP to plus 16, and the minus 4 BP to plus 4. Also, props to the weaver in the game, because realistically, if Musashi is sleeping on this cold stone floor, right? Without the quilt, Musashi cannot nap below 20 tiredness. And that makes sense, because, I mean, just look at this place. This looks really uncomfortable for an Applebee's. But with the quilt, you can sleep to 0%, no matter where you are. So that is one heck of a magical quilt to make something like this so comfortable that Musashi can get a full night's sleep.
I mean, the fact that he can get any rest in here I feel like just having a quilt makes it that much better. Oh, okay.
Fair argument.
With the quilt, you said you reached day 985?
985. For reference, Aalaizah should finish this category at day 8-ish. And the 80% run, we try to finish by day 19.
Wow. And what about the 100% run?
I would have to check. But I think my last one, I was done by day 33.
Wow.
It might
So
be day
985 is really, really pushing it.
Oh yeah, no, 985 is, you really forgot something. I think in my last casual run, and that was me doing like just everything I wanted.
Yeah, so basically Musashi can take all the time he wants to
Yeah, Musashi can take
know.
3 years and the game still won't care.
So you will also see that there's a different name for each of the days of the week. Most of them are normal, and then we get Sky Day. That doesn't matter in this run, but in the 80% run and the perfect ending, you need to be on Sky Day to get into the last chapter. So...
I would also like to point out that by walking up to this door, Aalaizah has just traveled back in time.
Yes.
So in the normal run, or in the normal casual play, what happens is you're supposed to do the restaurant first. The item she is about to get is what gives her double jump. Then we go to the church. But because we go to the church first and then go here, essentially what's happened is it was Sunday, it was Monday, it was Friday, and now it's Thursday again.
Perfectly normal Musashi things.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's for us. It's perfectly normal. We're going to abuse it again in a little bit after she fights this next boss. So,
I mean, it really sounds like
Yeah.
we meme all the time. What is time, you know? But it feels like for Musashi that takes on a special meaning.
yeah.
Probably
I mean,
faster to actually
During our practice runs, Aalaizah said that she wanted to actually draw a timeline for
I really
it.
do. I haven't had a chance to, but that'd be so good. Just 8 hours.
It's going to look like the conspiracy board thing.
Yeah, basically.
No, absolutely. That's 3.5 hours. Is that enough time?
Yeah. As long as I don't mess up the penta jump too many times. Which I haven't done in a while, so.
I mean, I really hope that you don't, since it's optimally it's a quadra jump.
Is it really? I'm pretty sure the guide calls it a penta jump. I don't count. I just know where on the screen I am. So he's telling us that there's no water in the restaurant or in the village because the well's messed up and that we need the rope. We already got the rope.
The church, which is
Yeah, the
why
rope is in the church.
which is why we would normally talk to the priest who is currently passed out in the church yard. So this
What
is a
you're
jump.
saying is this is still
about.
normal Applebee's things.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Depending on what kind of Applebee's you are. Or rather, where the Applebee's is.
You just jumped from the entrance all the way to this platform.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Explain that. So, remember how we were talking about Musashi's model, when you reset it, it resets everything?
Uh-huh.
Now that we have double jump, if we
Ooh,
double
flashing light
jump...
warning, sorry.
Yes,
Yes,
flashing light
flashing
warning.
Thank you.
Now when we double jump, if we pause and scroll swap, it resets Musashi's model. And as long as the game has not registered that you have done a double jump, it will give you your jump back.
And so you
that's
can
what
just
Aalaizah-
traverse that entire area. Wow.
Yeah, so
Almost. Under normal circumstances, you cannot gain height with that jump. However, Aalaizah jumped off of a rope. And because we are climbing up the rope, we have increased momentum. And as long as we do something that gives us increased momentum, we can actually jump and gain height and do as they're saying. We can basically break the game and go wherever we want. It's not demonstrated in this run, but in any percent, we actually have to use it. We call it monster jump to reach the final section of the game.
It's really cool.
So the item that I just grabbed, that's called the L-Vest, and that makes it so that my charge attack charges up faster. You're not supposed to get it until after this boss, but we get it beforehand because we're speedrunners and we don't care.
Speaking
Also,
of don't care,
it said
though,
faster, so faster.
Yeah.
that's true. Speaking of don't care, I know this is the run where Aalaizah, you don't care about anything, but those chests in the water, do those normally... Is that like some special thing that you have to like get a power to be able to get, or?
Yeah, so that's... after we beat this boss...
Yeah. The best way to put it is
we can
we will
use the
demonstrate
water
it.
scroll. Yeah, we'll demonstrate
Ooh,
it.
okay. Because I've been seeing them, and I've been really wanting to say, oh, chest.
Yeah.
So I can start explaining that. So what normally happens in the game is when we beat bosses, which we haven't actually beat a boss since Steam Night, so it hasn't come up. We unlock the power of Lumina, right? So we had the Earth Scroll. In a normal playthrough, we should have beaten Scorpion, who is the Earth Crest Guardian. That actually, there are small circles on the ground in game that empowers now, that gives Lumina the power to activate them.
Hello.
So Monster Jump, actually, this is a good segue into it. Monster Jump is necessary because we don't beat Scorpion. The final chapter of the game is actually locked by the Earth Crest. But since we never fight Scorpion, we can't activate it.
So we monster jump over it?
So we have to monster jump into that area. So likewise, when we beat this next boss, who is the Water Crest Guardian, we will gain the ability to activate the Water Crest. By activating the Water Crest, we can then move bodies of water how we want. And that's how we basically clear the water out to get those chests. However, that is actually a necessary Water Crest for us to time travel, so we're going to leave it alone.
And just to clear things up, because we've been talking about 3 different categories of this game: any percent, 100%, and of course the one we're showing off, Orchestra percent. We don't go to the final boss at all in Orchestra percent, right?
No, we don't go.
So we don't have to worry about any of that at all.
We don't have to worry about any of it at all. So Orchestra percent, the part of the reason why we created it as it is we get to end this category sooner. As much as we love this game, as much as it's exciting for us to watch people react to us fighting the final boss, because I'm going to put it out there, that final boss is a tribute to Akira Toriyama. It is DBE at its finest.
Yeah.
The final boss looks like Frieza. It even has a transformation sequence into Frieza.
That sounds amazing, and all the more reason that we can hopefully see any
amazing.
percent sometime.
Yeah, we'd be glad to run any percent. But we also understand, like, in a marathon setting, there's not many tricks that we do after Ice Palace. So it just becomes us playing the game, basically. We did recently come up with a trick that really helps in Chapter 5 boss, which is kind of a shame that in this category, we cut it out.
Yeah.
But that's like the one trick that's worth mentioning in the last half of the game, which lasts at least an hour or so longer than this run.
Ah, okay.
And so this is Relic Keeper. Relic Keeper is actually the giant statue in the background who is struggling to lift. Apparently he skipped leg day. So in his place, we are fighting this giant fireball. And Aalaizah just did a really neat trick there. So this is one of the worst parts about speedrunning this game, is that was the phase where she had to do a lot of damage to the fireball, the core got exposed, and then she had to hit it. Unfortunately, as long as a scroll is activated, you cannot swing Lumina. So what Aalaizah did was, as she did the last hit, she also jumped into the fireball to pop the bubble so that she didn't have to deactivate the scroll to hit the boss.
Okay,
That was a terrible scatter combo.
Right? It followed me to the side like I wanted, and then it was like, okay, but what if?
So yeah, for
Okay,
most
good,
of these
it's not
bosses,
Snake.
the phases are calculated. Like, we know exactly what they're going to do to a degree. We know it's going to activate this ability, but you know, the scattering combo part is our ideal situation. It can actually get caught in the corner on the left and just bounce up and down. No, this one decided to go straight left and right, and that's almost impossible for Aalaizah to hit. And so we know that this is going to go into Squid, and Aalaizah likes to double jump these. I personally, with the L vest, you can charge fast enough to activate the bubble before the next leg hits you. So that's my preferred strat. But yeah, so this is Relic Keeper. This will be a very fast boss on this last phase. Aalaizah's gotten a pretty good amount of damage done. And this will feed into immediately after she leaves this. Let me check the time real fast. 9 a.m. So you should finish around 11. Yeah, that's time for you to go straight into Slug.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're going to basically decide to time travel again.
Take
Because
that.
why not?
So that's Relic Keeper.
Did you bowl at the end?
Yeah.
I was about to ask when I saw that meter come up.
I started mashing a little too early. So the circle button is how you mash through text. It's also how
Also,
you
the
use
button that
your ability.
all abilities are bound to.
So
I
Look,
was gonna
I was
say
just trying
it would
to have
be
fun.
really cool to like just bowl this one down.
I have tried it. It doesn't work.
no, it doesn't, unfortunately. So that's the end of chapter 3. Actually, we actually ended a chapter. We're still gonna do more timey-wimey stuff, but
Oh, I mean, we're... Yeah, no. Musashi's effectively a Time Lord at this point. Like, I think in my example, I said that we went to Friday and went back to Thursday. By beating that boss, we have now gone to Saturday, and we're about to warp to next Monday.
oh, is that when this
You know, that
fight's supposed
sounds
to
like
take
my
place?
work schedule a little.
Right?
It's just like me, for real, for real.
So, we're about to abuse that first frame trick again, but in a slightly different way. So before, we wanted it as we landed, so that the game didn't think that we bounced up. Now we want the frame immediately after we landed, so that the game thinks that we're trying to bounce up. That's going to give us enough height for us to slide over the hitbox of this giant slug that's in Aalaizah's way. Normally in this section, what we're supposed to be doing is we're supposed to play mayor. By going to see the mayor, we find that he's sick, and his wife is like, "Hey, do you want to do his job for the day?" And
What?
in JRPG fashion, we're like, "Sure, that's my dream job."
I wish it were that easy.
Right? Well, I mean,
I
we
do
don't
think
really
I'm
get paid though, so.
Oh,
We do
okay, you know
get
what? I
paid.
take
Oh,
that back.
that's you know what we do. We get a. That's right. We get a berry. We get HP.
No.
I forgot.
No. Berry is for saving Lino. Here we get rock salt, which is how we
Oh,
use
right, okay.
fastest salt.
Yeah, rock salt. That's a payment, right?
I mean,
Also, the-
salt was very, very important in the ancient ages, especially because it could be used to flavor and preserve food. So yes, absolutely, that was like the best thing they could pay you with.
Yes, absolutely. That's 100% what we do with it. We don't rank a giant slug.
Oh,
God, if I could, I just got the L hop jump like 3 times in a row. This is
Oh.
so.
The reason why this trick is so difficult for Aalaizah is, as I described before, when we were doing L-Hop, we wanted the frame that we landed. And this time we want the frame that we bounce. Those frames are right next to each other. So Aalaizah's having to break her own training for L-hop to get this trick.
Oh my gosh. Thankfully, it doesn't take too much time when you fail this trick. L-hop, when you fail it, is an extra, like, minute or two of gameplay. This is like 30 seconds to run back and forth.
It is the biggest time crunch that we have here is for us to progress the game. Aalaizah has to get past this slug before 1900 hours on her clock.
That was it. What is this video game?
The lucky thing about that, though, is when she moves into that section, that area, like here, time is flowing. But as she transitions into the next area, time freezes. So she has almost double the amount of time she normally would trying to get this before 1900 hours. Are you holding X?
I'm holding X. Unless my controller is dying, which, you know, it is a very old controller that needs repairs. But I wanted to wait until after this to take it apart.
You have a second controller. Oh, that's actually something else that... an oddity that we have found with this game is one of the ways we actually speed up our own gameplay, given how much we have to mash in this game, is by plugging in a second controller and turning it on. We don't really understand why, but by plugging in a second controller, we actually increase the limit in which we can input and stop losing inputs when we mash. Before we discovered this, I think every runner had an instant where they were on the final boss and you have to mash during the final boss. You know, you're on PB pace, the adrenaline's pumping, you're mashing as fast as you can, and you're losing inputs because you're mashing too fast.
I don't know why I'm not getting this right now. Normally it takes me like 3 tries. It's because I got that first try L-hop.
Ah, yes.
Slug entrance is
Now's
like,
a good
what
time
if?
to ask for people to send you their energy, etc. And
Yeah.
honestly, I just have a little bit of amusement every time I see that little, I guess it's the hop image that shows up where that really disappointed child.
I mean, yeah, that is... every single ability has a unique, like, little image that pops up when you absorb it. My favorite thing is if you actually look at Musashi while he's hopping, he's balancing on the sword with his hands, and he has his feet in the air. Like, this man's this man's abs are absolutely insane that he is not breaking this. Like, his feet are straight up in the air.
We all need to get on Musashi's level.
Right? Oh my god, what is happening? I hate this trick. That was the right frame. I'm 90% certain.
Jump is a little late to me.
You're gonna get this. I believe it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get it. It's... I have until 1900, right?
1900. But yeah, your second jump looks a little late to me.
Okay. I am gonna apologize for how many times I have run back and forth.
So you mentioned each ability has their own images. Do you have a favorite one?
Yeah, that was the right hop, but again, your second jump was far too late.
Ooh.
Oh, favorite one?
I don't actually
Like
know
just
what most
like
of them
are
look
some of them like
anymore.
silly, like especially.
Oh, they're
silly?
all absolutely silly, but just thinking about the favorite one.
we use so few of the abilities, I don't actually know, like, what most of them look like anymore. Okay, I'm gonna go sleep, because I'm almost out of BP, too. I'm gonna give it one more try.
I was going to say, you should try until 1900 and then sleep.
That's fair.
Because you're probably going to have to BP farm. Thinking about it, I don't necessarily like the magicians. Probably the javelin.
There we
There it
go.
goes. Yeah.
I just had to threaten it.
Hey!
Sometimes you just have to threaten the trick.
So yeah, so basically what's going on is she's trying to get enough height. There's like, because of how the slug is round on that top corner, we can slip above like just the round edge and just slide across. Also,
So,
everyone please
flashing
type in
light
chat.
warnings.
Yes, but type in chat the fire scroll symbol because it's just an emoji.
It really is!
It's just a cute little emoji.
I like using that emoji in particular, oh my gosh.
I love this emoji, it's so good. So now we have the fire scroll. And now more shenanigans happens, because the princess was kidnapped, but she was close enough to Bencho to try and do another summoning. So she summons our rival, Kojiro.
History with Kojiro is basically we set up a duel and then we never showed up because Kojiro's not worth the time. So Kojiro is pissed. And so since Kojiro got summoned to rescue the princess, he rescues the princess, realizes that she's our friend, and it's like, oh, well now I'm going to kidnap you to force Musashi into a duel. So at this point, the princess has been kidnapped twice.
It's fine, she's just getting practice getting kidnapped. Or maybe not with, like, whatever that was being fired at her. Does he not realize he's aiming all these attacks directly at the princess?
Oh,
You
Kojiro
know.
doesn't care.
Kojiro doesn't care.
Kojiro has gotten his duel with Musashi. That's all he cares about. Everything else no longer matters. Not even winning.
Come on. No. Ow, thank
So,
you.
Aalaizah's trying to manipulate Kojiro. There's two attacks that we want him to use. The shockwave that, Zoku was mentioning, and the flame bird. The flame bird is actually the fastest attack, but unfortunately it's also the most damaging. So, as you saw, we had to glitch into this area, so now we have to try to glitch out. So what Aalaizah's trying here is she's trying to skew herself on the dragon head, and if she can get the skew successful, that will let her board out. And, did not get it. But let her board out, and that will spawn her back at the entrance, and then she can just walk out. This is actually the new method of how to do this. The old method is we have Princess Filet cosplay Princess Peach. Specifically Princess Peach in Smash Brothers, and she's going to side B us through the slug.
Shaking screen warning for this trick, also. Alright.
And so, just by jumping up here, what she's trying to do is there it is. She was trying to get Musashi to land on Princess. It's actually her petticoats. Her petticoats stick so far out behind her that if we land on her petticoats correctly, it actually just lets us slide through the slug.
Because collision's a suggestion.
Oh, I see what you mean by sticking out so far behind her.
Yes, and so that was Princess Escape, or as I like to call it, the Badonkadonk Slam. Because it's just petticoats. It's really, but wow, I don't know why they gave it a hitbox.
Okay, so I'm just gonna ask for quiet for just a second. We're gonna talk to the first musician, and that changes the music here in the castle, which is part of why we wanted to show off this category.
Also, note the name.
So yeah, so this first guy adds this nice flute to the castle music. We're also going to talk to a bunch of mercenaries who we saved specifically to talk to them so that they could tell us the puzzle that we already know the answer to.
But we have to talk to them to change the area that we're going to let us get to the next area. Which, by the way, it's, again, just back to the whole, Legend of Zelda, or Ocarina of Time is Musashi. The next area is called Meandering Forest, which is a very, obviously Lost Woods is an homage to it.
So each of these 3 mercenaries has a piece of a message for how we get to the thieves' hideout. And the thieves they're talking about are the thieves that stole the bell that we're supposed to be getting back for the church that we just left in the well.
Castle room sleep before we move on.
Yeah.
Also save.
Can I save in the castle?
You can't save in the castle. You'll have to go back to the inn, but you don't have enough.
Yeah, no, that's...
sleep in the inn. So normally, in any percent, this is actually a point where we'd start farming some money to do the rest of the run. We don't actually care about money in the Orchestra percent run, so this is all the money that we'll ever need. Aalaizah has it kind of down perfectly in that she can't afford anything anymore, so she had the perfect amount of money.
I bought way too many gels, but I wanted to be safe. Don't mind me going back to the castle after leaving the castle. I just wanted the music some more.
I'm going to forewarn everyone now, when we get to the forest, I am going to mute myself. It is one of my favorite songs in a run. Not because it's necessarily good, but it is great. I'm going to mute myself because I'm going to be sitting here just go doot, 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 doot to the beat of the song.
I mean, you're really hyping up that song here, but in your defense, once we got the flute added to the castle track, this has been such a peaceful piece. It's just really nice vibe to.
Yeah.
The full orchestra is fantastic. And this is actually part of the Easter egg. This is one small detail that I discovered that I really like about the game design. So there's 4 musicians in total, so 4 instruments we can add to the final orchestration. The first musician is automatic, it's one of the original 5 that aren't kidnapped. And the reasoning I believe that is so that the castle actually has music.
That's a really nice touch when you put it like that, yeah.
I just ran past a minku. We will not be touching the minkus because I'm bad at catching them, but they give you extra health. They have hitboxes though, so you can accidentally slash them with your sword, which I think is rude. So instead of petting the minku, we are going to not.
Yeah, so that's actually how we increase our HP in a normal game playthrough. Is the minkus are just these cute little, they're bunnies that run around. They're nocturnal animals, so they only appear during a certain time of day. But you have to catch them and then, like an animal, yeet them away to get the berries from their mouth. And now I'm going to mute to doot.
So this is the puzzle that the mercenaries were telling us how to get through. If you're playing through casually, you can actually go and talk to Scribe Shanky again in the library to read a book about shogi and learn how to do the puzzle. But it's the same every time.
This game teaches you shogi.
Kind of. It doesn't let you play it, but the shogi moves are the directions that you need to go. So like in the first area, you move the gold piece left, and then you move the knight right twice, and then the knight right or left once, and then something straight on till morning. We're still
really keeping on theme with the Musashi Kojiro, like each Japanese swordsman thing.
Yeah.
I also understand what PowerForge was saying about wanting to doot along to the song.
It's such a good... I love a bassoon. I love a good double-reeded instrument, we're going to be honest here. I grew up playing the oboe, so I love a good double-reeded instrument. But the bassoon in that song, just top tier.
When you grind out this game, there's reset points, and you learn like at certain times it's like, okay, I reset here, I reset here, I reset here when something goes bad. You gotta find something silly that helps you
For sure.
enjoy the game to keep running it.
No, that's completely fair. And that's...
And for me, that's sitting
It's the
here
dude.
going, dude.
I mean, they say for a lot of speed games that having good music, because you have to listen to it over and over again, is a requirement.
I 100% agree with that. If it's not good music, it's something that's actually fun, that makes you happy to see it over and over again.
Yeah. So, in here we have these wonderful clones that do exactly what we do, except sometimes because they don't have Lumina. So, kind of have to avoid them, and I did a bad job avoiding the first one.
It's actually probably a good time to explain what the story actually is. And so if you follow the actual storyline, you're introduced to 2 of 3 people who call themselves Leader Force. They are actually the ones who stole the church bell, which I don't know if anyone caught that the church was missing a bell, because we kind of skipped that story
Yeah,
plot.
we skipped past it, you know.
But so basically, this part of the story is where we're supposed to track them down and capture them. This is supposedly their hideout. So that's why we were talking to the mercenaries. The mercenaries were the ones who were investigating this group, and they gave us the details in order to find it. So now that we're here, what we need to do is actually, there are 3 eyes, each in a room with a special characteristic. Aalaizah just got the blue eye, and the special characteristic of that room is she had to kill all of the enemies without taking damage. As she leaves this room, or actually, do you do it in this room, or do you do it... No, you need to grab steel in this room.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to grab steel in this room.
So,
Oh, that was
Aalaizah...
close.
Oh, yeah. If you try to absorb an ability and then you leave a room before fusion gets back to you, you cancel out absorbing the ability. So she almost walked out before the sword got back. But we're actually getting into the soft lock potential. So in this
Yeah.
castle, there are ice slopes. And Musashi cannot walk up ice slopes because they are slippery. Not all slopes are iced, but the one she's about to try to jump over is. The way you're supposed to do this casually is, in this castle, there are certain shoes that give you the ability to walk up these slopes. That's going to take too long, so instead we're going to do that infinite jump that we talked about earlier, to just reach over and never have to touch the slope.
I also just got
And we're
stuck
good.
on a column, and that scared the crud out of me. I've never
Oh,
gotten
is that
stuck
what-
on one of the columns. Oh, that was rude.
That was
So
a
I'm
bad
trying to
throw.
grab this clone because I need it for the green eye room.
Yeah. But that was the soft lock potential. We could potentially try to jump back, but the pole is one of those things that gives us increased momentum. So that's why it's safe going to this area. Going back, we don't have a pole, so it's a lot more difficult. So in terms of this marathon, we're not going to do that. We're going to play it safe and do the intended route to exit. And so the trick of this room is, I think it says you're not allowed to kill thing.
Something like
So
that.
Aalaizah has to use clone, which tricks the game into saying, I didn't kill it. The giant bubble that looks like me killed it. And then I think this is where you should get D-Kick. D-Kick is
That was a bad throw.
a speedrunner's wet dream. It is movement and offense in the same ability. It costs 4 BP to use, and yeah, it's just Musashi can run forward doing an extra kick. And so we spam this going everywhere at this point.
Oh,
I mean,
that
I
was-
would. I know you said spam, but I would absolutely stand that kind of move.
Yeah, no,
As a casual, as a filthy casual.
oh yeah, this is like just, it's so good. this is one of the few categories where we get to do it. Because, as we said, for us to do any percent, we have to take the clone ability out of this area to use in the next area. But since we don't fight the Chapter 5 boss, D-kick.
So
And when you're asking me about what was my favorite photograph, it was actually like, I was thinking about the D-kick image as well. I was like, that's a really good one, but is it my favorite? And so that's Green Eye, and so now we're going back to Red Eye, which there is no trick to Red Eye Room. The trick to Red Eye Room is don't drive yourself crazy trying to fight the penguins.
They're robotic penguins, so don't worry. There were no penguins injured in the making of the speedrun.
It's like I said, this is just speed running Sonic, like robotic animals. That's Sonic, right?
Yup. So in this room, you're supposed to use the ice blocks that they're shoving across to jump across. But because we need Fire Scroll anyways, it's faster to just swap to the Fire Scroll. Oh, that was rude. Come kill these penguins first, since I missed the one I was trying to throw it at. Ooh, that's also rude.
And so the reason why it's, the trick of this room in all essence is don't drive yourself crazy is the penguins have AI, but their AI are so simplistic that it's really easy to be annoyed by them. So the penguins will do one of two things depending on whether or not they still have their head. If you do enough damage...
Wait, I'm sorry?
So you watch here. So as the penguins take damage, their heads pop off. So
they're robots,
their head is
fine.
Yeah, they're robot penguins. But if their heads are still on, they basically just spin around in a circle, choose a direction, and belly slide until they hit something.
Well, so we haven't focused too much on like the penguins because you've been trying to get rid of them, and so I thought the head popping off was just okay, they're done.
Nope.
But no,
that's
Nope. When their heads pop off, they are just fully blind robots, and they just decide, you know what? I have a machine gun for a mouth. I'm going to shoot randomly and just run.
That is some monster design.
So this is another trick we have to do is the staircase in the middle of the palace is an ice sloped. So normally we would have to have red shoes, but that takes time. So we don't want to go run back to town to appraise the red shoes and then come back. That's a waste of time. So what we're going to do here is we're going to jump on this balcony and do that infinite jump around the banister to the top of the stairs and then never have to have red shoes. Because for whatever reason, the game has decided no other ice slopes exist besides this one.
There we go.
Nice first try balcony.
I will take first try balcony after Slug Skip was juking me.
I really have to say you're making this. Are those jumps like frame perfect? Because you're making them look so easy.
So
they
they're
are not frame perfect. But they're not necessarily forgiving.
And so also the earlier on so you'll see I'm pausing like after I start the double jump. The earlier into the double jump you start it, the more time you have to do your next double jump before you start falling. So
you don't have a necessarily big window, but essentially what you're aiming for is, like I mentioned before, is without a momentum improver, it's really hard for us to gain height in that jump. So the best we can do is try not to lose height. So I don't remember exactly how many it is, but I want to say it's somewhere between like 4 to 5 frames.
Yeah.
4 to 5 frames after you start your jump is your opportunity to pause. And when I say 4 to 5 frames, I'm not including the like 2 to 3 frames where you're not allowed to reset. Simply because the game won't let you reset yet.
Okay, I was not expecting that to happen.
So it's not frame perfect, but it's a very unforgiving kind of trick. Also,
So definitely
this is,
a lot of practice required
oh yes,
to get that timing.
this is one of the best designed bosses in my opinion, and the
Also awesome music.
I was going to say it's probably within the top 3 soundtracks overall for like all gamers who have finished this game. This is also the boss that Aalaizah is going to just backslap and then take a nap.
All right, keeping my eyes peeled.
So that was phase 1 of Frost Dragon. Now, Frost Dragon breaks up this ice for us.
And that was just a 4-hour nap, casually.
4 hours to break that ice. This really is like super dramatic boss battle music, though.
Yeah, but this is appropriate for this boss. It's also this is probably no Scorpion is my favorite boss, but this is just a fun boss. This is the second favorite boss.
I think that's the right.
So Aalaizah's gonna try an AI manip here. So what we're trying to do is this boss has 3 attacks. It's the dive, it's this ice shard, and then it has a very, very long, we call it the ice beam because this is pretty much a Pokemon. But it's a very long charge up, like sweeping ice beam attack. By blocking the ice shards with fusion, we can actually manip the AI of Frost Dragon to never use ice beam. And if Aalaizah backs into this corner here, she's basically manipped Frost Dragon into diving exactly where she wants to. So she's going to lay out fire before it lands. That helps reduce the amount of fire scroll that she has. Okay, she did get a blocking. And that way, that frees her up to block the ice shards to keep this AI manipulation going on. So as long as Aalaizah keeps this up, we're never going to see an ice beam.
We'll see. We'll see how phase 3 goes.
I believe.
And so there she activated Fire Scroll a little early because Frost Dragon is faster. So she wanted to make sure she used up fire so that she could slash Frost Dragon. And that scroll swap is just safety because she thought she had too much fire left.
Well, I don't think we've
Frost
really
Dragon.
talked about that mechanic. If you've got a little time, like you mentioned, too much fire left.
Oh, yes. So when you use a scroll, you basically activate it, and then you can see on the bottom left as she activates it, the bar will start slowly going down. When you're actually using the scroll, like when Musashi is actively breathing fire out, that increases the rate at which it drops. And similar to like how she was popping the bubble on the boss in Relic Keeper, it's the same kind of mechanic she's trying to do here. She wants to burn out her fire at precise times
So she
that
doesn't
she
have
has
to
the
swap to
freedom.
normal.
Exactly. And so that last one that's why she swapped, is by swapping off a fire scroll. That's an instantaneous use of all the fire, but then she has to swap back in order to use fire.
And there we saw me slide down the stairs because I don't have the shoes. Just, you know, a little slide for fun as a treat.
I don't know.
Wait,
I didn't get to check
there was
the
a
time.
second option in I Go again. Do you get to just go into the dungeons again?
Yes.
Yeah, you can go back into almost any of the dungeons. You can't go back to chapter 1.
Chapter 1 is the only place that you can't access again. So we're time traveling again. I didn't actually get to check what time Aalaizah had as she was leaving. But in this portion of the game, you always enter this point of time at 1300 hours. It can be 23:45 Monday. It is 1300 hours Monday here.
So I will say, because I'm doing orchestra percent, it's fine. If this were any percent, the fact that it's Monday would be rough because we sell items to the appraiser and he's closed on Mondays. So,
Which is why we hate Connors on Monday, but we love him every other day of the week. But we are coming up to the final section of the run now. So she did rescue one musician in Ice Palace. The next dungeon is Ant Hill. And that's where the last musician is. So now we're going to do another bit of timey-wimey travel. You might remember in my example, I told you when we started the last chapter, it was Friday, or it was Saturday, and we worked to Monday. Well, now we need it to be Sunday. So we're going to go back to Sunday now. This is actually a crest that we're supposed to activate in Chapter 4. It's the first thing you do when you play Pretend Mayor. But since we skipped that entire portion by jumping over the slug, we never activated it. That leaves it here ready to activate. So now that we've activated it, now the game thinks that we're back in Chapter 4. This is important because when the chapter started, the mayor was telling us that something was going wrong. As we investigated what was going wrong, we would have found out that Steamwood is again going crazy. One of the things that happens when Steamwood is going crazy is all these metal pipes that are around town start gushing steam and hurting us and preventing us from going anywhere. So if Aalaizah were to attempt to go into this cave while the game thought we were in Chapter 5, there would be steam blowing out right about here where she couldn't cross. But because we tricked the game, it thinks we're back in Chapter 4, and therefore Steamwood is A-OK, and we're going to continue with our run.
And the town, don't worry about the town, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It saves itself. The mayor didn't actually need us.
Yeah. I mean, really, all that you really find out is that the princess is not really the princess, which means that she got kidnapped for a third time. And that the fake princess decided that Steamwood needed to blow up. And so by activating that crest right there, which is the fire crest, we are now back in chapter... What chapter is this? This is chapter 5. We are now back in chapter 5. So now it's Tuesday.
Did you compare this to Mario at the start? I just have to ask, because with the princess
Flashing
being...
lights.
I did not at the start, but I did compare it to Princess Peach while we were doing the Kajiro fight.
Yeah, the princess is always in another castle. It's fine.
And so, like I said, Musashi is just a Time Lord in this run. You know, he's got a sonic screwdriver, that's his fusion sword. And now that he has the Wind Scroll, we have finally unlocked our true Sonic cosplay. Spin!
We spin fast. We spin so fast that we drill through dirt.
Oh!
Alright, so what is the least likely game series you think I can apply to this game?
Maybe you shouldn't ask me that, because I play a lot of mobile games, but I'm going to say rhythm gaming.
No, actually, I was going to say Sims. We've just become a Sims character.
Yep, we're a Sims character right now in our little bencho. We do get rhythm game, not in this run, in any percent we get, and perfect ending, we get rhythm gaming from one of the boss battles in the last chapter.
One of the final bosses is, they sit there and they say, you can't hit a girl, so instead of fighting the boss with our swords, we have a dance battle. Oh, we have a challenge. Gran Turismo. I don't know, I think my kart's kind of like a racing game.
I mean, the rafting game's also kind of...
Rafting game is also kind of like a racing game, yeah.
I hate
also
the rafting game. I'm so glad I don't have to do that.
The rafting game it's the third quest at the start of the game that we skipped by doing L-Hop. So the only categories we ever see it in are the glitchless categories.
Really, what I've been learning today is that Brave Fencer Musashi is whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, yep.
Pretty much. It's why when I saw you type out that take, I was like, I love that. You're going to enjoy this so much.
Yes.
And just for the sake of posterity, to reference it, but my first time hearing about Brave Fencer Musashi was when I was in high school. A friend of mine had the game, and you know, as like the kind of nerdy wannabe know-it-all teenager, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll look this up and I act like I know about this. And my take on seeing our main character, who, as you see, is wielding two swords, one giant ass sword and one's like slightly smaller, not slightly smaller, but one smaller katana, is this character is just Sephiroth and Cloud combined.
Yeah, they had to do a fusion dance so that they can defeat Frieza.
He's got the Cloud hair, so I can't blame
He does.
him.
He's got the Cloud hair.
You know, the physics-defying hair.
Even the pose he's doing on like the box art, that's Cloud.
So
absolutely.
We are using a gondola to smash an ant because
not just an ant, it is a giant ant. And would you like to guess its name? Again, every single thing in this game is a freaking pun.
My first that's squishy. My first guess was to reference ant as in like the familial member.
Nope. The name of this giant ant is the Giant.
So we squished our ant buddy there so that he'd leave the split pea soup alone and open up the anthill dungeon for us.
Which means we have access to our final musician. So it is essentially just a quick run to grab said musician. And then as soon as the musician is grabbed, we leave. We're going to run back to the castle to talk to our final two musicians to add their instruments to the orchestra.
Can we go back to the musicians for a bit, though? Because earlier you called attention to the name of the musician, the flautist, I believe, in the castle. And I think the name was Pianissimo or Pianissimite.
It's Pianissimite.
Because
so it's
even though it is Pianissimo, but it's the all-you-can-eat empire.
So we have to have food in there, too.
If you missed it, some of the mercenaries' names are, one of them is Meatloaf, and another one is Stew.
And the last one is Pot Roast.
Is it Pot Roast? I can never remember the third one's name.
We didn't talk about this, and I'm on the showcase by chance, but like food is like the closest thing I have to a special interest. So, oh my gosh, this is really tickling that part of my brain right now.
And so
it's actually really funny. So, remember how I mentioned in the storyline that it's the Thirst Quencher Empire
that's
attacking? So, we've met two of their members so far, right? We've met Bubbles, who is the blonde in the church. And then there is the redhead in Ice Palace, whose name is Ginger Ale.
I did see Ginger Ale, yes.
So, I'm going to ruin the plot now, since we don't actually see this happen. But it's actually come out that the Führer, who's now in charge of the Empire, had a hostile takeover. He killed the rightful prince.
Oh.
That was so rude, Hopper. Where'd you go?
Oh, that is a very rude Hopper. You probably just want to go right and respawn it now. Oh, it's still alive.
Yeah, that's...
Of course, I despawned. But so, I always make fun of the Thirst Quencher Empire for not realizing that the Führer is evil, because his name is Führer Flatsky. As in flat soda.
Wow.
To give you an idea, when you actually invade the Empire back to beat the game, the location that you use to invade the Empire is called Soda Fountain.
That's that feels like it's a major clue, yeah.
And so this is a hard
my initial thought was maybe it's seltzer? No, it's flat soda, the worst of sodas.
Yeah, we'll see another Miku. Hi, friend.
This is a game that just loves puns.
And we love it for it.
We love it for it. One of my favorite things when I'm doing my perfect ending runs is I do have to save every single member of the castle, which means at some point every member's name is popped up on my screen. And I will have just random people just watching me be like, Is that guy's name really Sloppy Joe? By the way, Sloppy Joe is the janitor. He cleans all the toilets.
Oh, that's a wonderful name pairing.
Like, there's Sloppy Joe. There's
I just realized it's an all-you-can-eat empire, but they're all meat.
Yep.
Yep. Like, most of them are some type of meat or some type of food item.
And this is Conductor Scores. The last of our friendos. So now we're just gonna run out of this dungeon instead of defeating the boss. Because, you know, it's a big ant. Like, it's just trying to live its life.
But is it a giant?
I mean, it's the queen of the giants, so I would hope so.
Oh yeah, so this is a very easy exit. Is she gets to dig a hole here, and then it puts us back, not quite at the beginning of the dungeon, but close enough for us to just start running out instead of trying to finish the dungeon. Then we'll run to the castle, we'll talk to the musicians, and then we'll leave the visiting area. That puts Musashi in the castle grounds where he can do like his little victory pose that's kind of close to what's on the box art. And then when menu pops up as he's on the castle grounds, that will be time.
So we also didn't talk about it. This part, you're supposed to actually use the Earth Scroll to break the fences so that those boulders cover up the spikes. But that's slow, so we jump.
We also found out just because we were doing a run and it came up. It was a different run. I think it was one of my perfect ending runs. You can't actually activate Earth Scroll from the opposite side. The game was never intended for us to be able to reach that without using Earth Scroll, so there's no hitbox. So if you try, like, for any reason can't jump backwards, you're done. You go beat the dungeon.
That's really interesting, considering the game had like a contingency where you went into church at like the wrong time and the sunlight defeated all the Vambies.
Yeah.
Yep, it's, you know, just programmer things. Just speedrunner things. So we have now saved all of the orchestra members. And we just get to run back through town and go listen to the music upgrade. So the first one we talked to is going to give us percussion.
And then the second one will give us a full string quartet along with. I mean, I don't even know what you would say is playing right now, but
It's a violin or a viola, I think.
No, it's more twangy, so it makes me think more like a lute than like an actual strings.
Maybe. That's not.
That
That's
was
mercenary.
That's Stu. Yep, that's mercenary Stu.
Time saved for my next run.
There's musician
I'm a
C.
speedrunner. I can't read.
You know, it's al forte, a combination of forte and al dente.
And this is Conductor Scores. Giving us that string. And coming up on time.
And
Here in
here's the
just a
run out.
second. Time.
Congratulations, we got the music. You're not even halfway tired because you know you did take a couple of naps here and there.
Just a few naps here and there. So this is Brave Fencer Musashi. I love this game. Please play this game. But like I said, there's a bunch of categories. We do any percent, glitchless percent, like basically whatever you want. Some of us are probably gonna do it. So come by, say hi. I've been Aalaizah. I sometimes stream. If I'm not streaming, you can find me on Instagram. What about you, Power?
PowerForge. I mostly on Twitch. I speedrun this game and a lot of just silly categories on a bunch of different games. Pretty much, if it's a game where you're going to sit there and say, how do you speedrun this? I speedrun it.
I mean, you can speedrun just about anything, but it's really great to to be able to dedicate that time and energy and focus to something that's as charming and lovable as this little gem that you've showed off for us today. So thank you both so much for being on Attract Mode and and for dealing with all my questions about this gem that clearly I missed out on.
Come play
As
it.
I like to it, everyone should play it. I've only ever heard 3 opinions of it. I never finished it. I don't know what it is. I love it.
I'm leaning pretty close to the I love it so far. But might have a change of opinion when I have to hit that Steamwood portion, but you know, I hear that's common. And so once again, thank you so much for being here and showing off Brave Fencer Musashi. We're part of it here on Attract Mode, you know, with like all the... I'm sorry, you're showing off cute little plushes.
Yeah, these are my friendos. Sorry, they're dancing. They like music too.
It is very nice music. Like, I'm so glad that we get to hear this completed orchestra, because it's really got that I hate that I'm using this reference, but it's really got that 90s overworld map JRPG vibe.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that kind of journeying music. It's just so relaxing to me. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we will have you back maybe sometime in the future to show off any percent that really cool boss skip that, you know, we totally skipped on this run.
Yeah, hopefully.
But for now, we are coming to the end of this week's Attract Mode. Please stick around. We've got a few short announcements and, of course, a raid to announce. We'll see you shortly. And that has been it for another episode of Attract Mode, gamers. We hope you've enjoyed these wonderful showcases, these 2 wonderful top speedruns of some classic cult hits. And, you know, if you've liked what we've shown off here today, like we said at the start of the stream, you can be a part of the show. Please submit to Attract Mode. That's ladyarcaders.com/start for that handy link, or !AM. That's A as in Apple, M as in Mega Man, in the chat to get that handy information. But also, I would be so remiss to not tell you, our annual charity event, the Lady Arcaders Super Showcase, is back, and we're fundraising for CARE again this year at the end of July. That's from July 25th to July 28th, and it is a charity talent event. But when we say talent event, we mean talent event. It doesn't have to be speedruns. Please submit any type of showcase you want, as long as it's game related. You can go faster than Shadow the Hedgehog. I do need to tell you that my overlasses here at Lady Arcaders tell you that it's not possible to go faster than Shadow the Hedgehog, but you know, please go ahead and try. You can show off your drumming skills in Rock Band, paint that cute cat from Stray, overthrow the patriarchy with Dance Dance Revolution, or show off your game dev skills. And I've heard rumors and rumblings of maybe a cooking stream or 2. Whatever it is, whatever your game-loving heart desires, please submit it to the Super Showcase submissions, because showcases and volunteers submissions for that closes tonight at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. We've got that handy information in chat, !last, or you could go to the Lady Arcaders website. That's ladyarcaders.com for more details. Now, next time, because we are a bi-weekly showcase, friends, horror is not just for October anymore. And here to prove it next week, we've got 2 more fantastic showcases for you. First off, we've got Linear C coming in to showcase Resident Evil 2. She'll be playing as Claire, blasting her way through every zombie left in Raccoon City. And look, if you've never, ever played Resident Evil 2, I mean, that is a cult classic. You can play as Leon or Claire, but Claire herself is one of the preeminent badass women of gaming. So I'm so excited to see Linear C blast through the new Game Plus console version of Resident Evil 2. And right after that, we've got Astrid the Horror Girl. It's right in her name, Astrid the Horror Girl, playing through Cryostasis, which is a classic horror game set in the Arctic Circle. But, you know, if you're looking for that wintry scenery, you're not going to see much of it because we're going to be breaking out of bounds and using every glitch possible in that any percent run. So you're not going to want to miss either of those. Please make sure you got your drinks, your snacks, you got your cozies, because that's going to be happening this Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you tune in on May 9th. Now, we absolutely could not let this pass off without forwarding you to another fantastic fangamer. Actually, one that you heard just earlier on the showcase. Beam Queen Soul was here earlier with me, talking about the details of F-Zero GX as Elite Spud showed off some fantastic racing. And we ended it by talking about how all three of us were on 3 different Xenoblade games at the same time. Well, you're in luck. You get to see Beam Queen Soul do her casual playthrough of Xenoblade 2 right now, because that's where we're heading over. So please join us in this raid. We're going to have a raid message in the chat. And again, we'd love to have you join us, whether for volunteering or just like being part of our cozy community. So please feel free to check us out. Type !Discord in the chat to join our Discord or check out our website. And we hope to see you around more and more as we continue on our quest to uplift all women and femmes in gaming.